to the GoTeez Sports Page, coming to you live from the Bluetick Tavern in Maryville at 92.5 FM and 1180 AM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in Blount County sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scott, Donnie Moore, and from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here at the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville, along with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and longtime sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons. And this is the GoTeez Sports Page. The Vols are off to Vandy land, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card. Donnie Moore will report on the latest high school basketball scores involving Blount County high school teams, and will follow up with some national sports stories. Marcus Fitzsimmons will be on board to update us on what's happening in local high school sports. Marcus will present his feature, Mark It Down, and the Player of the Week segments. Alcoa girls basketball will be on the agenda. I'll talk some Tennessee basketball as we look back on the Vols week, and then we'll spring forward to preview today's game with Vandy. Former Maryville College Scott basketballer Dan Mitchell will join us as we open the GoTeez Sports Page vault and relive a time gone by but not forgotten in Maryville College basketball history. The Let Her Rip segment is set to go, so let's break the huddle and dive right in. Good morning, everybody, on this rainy Saturday morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Yeah.
That seems to be a theme for the last few weeks, hasn't it? Rain on weekends.
Yeah, at least it's warm.
That's right.
To a certain extent.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, Dan Mitchell, good morning to you. Welcome to the GoTeez Sports Page. And yeah, it's been a good morning to sleep. Marcus Fitzsimmons, how are you this morning?
Well, I'm awake, Mike.
All right. All right. Well, I've got some Let Her Rip here.
Let's let it rip.
Talking a little bit about the Vols and blowing leads.
Oh, man, that's a good subject.
Yeah.
Because that's been happening a lot lately.
One of the trends of this year's Tennessee Vols basketball team is how they can somehow lose leads, and in some cases, huge leads. Mm-hmm. It almost seems to show that this year's squad relishes in throwing away leads. The meltdowns have not always been to good teams. In some cases, the liquidation has been to bottom-dwelling schools. The frustration with this Jekyll-Hyde personality when it comes to losing leads has certainly weighed in on the Vol coaching staff and the fan base. What causes these peaks and valleys in offensive efficiency? Well, here's my 2 cents worth. You can talk all you want about your great defense. You can blow your horn all you want on great rebounding team that you are. You can beat your chest because you don't turn the ball over very much. You can brag about the great crowd support at home, but when you get right down to brass tacks, you have to take the legendary advice of the great former basketball coach of the Butler Bulldogs, Tony Hinkle. When asked who would win the Indiana State High School Basketball Championship each year, his response was always the same. The team that puts the ball through the hoops the most will win. Well, the next time the Vol hardwooders go into a scoring slump and can't seem to get out of the valley, you might give Tony's philosophy some thought before it's too late.
Too late. That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Well, really, sometimes we do get bogged down in how many turnovers you make. You know, they average about 10 or 12 a game, when they're winning. And the fact that, the rebounding is very strong, this year. You hang your hat on that. And, of course, they pride themselves on defense. But, when you get right down to it, that's why they got scoreboards up there. You got to be able to score, and sometimes they go into these valleys and they can't get out of them, Dan.
Well, that's the truth. We've watched them squander big leads, especially against Kentucky.
Sure.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't satisfied the first time, so they just went right back and did it again to prove it. By golly, it wasn't a farce the first time. We'll show you we can do it again.
Wasn't a fluke, was it?
No.
Absolutely.
We can do this with the best of them.
Yeah. Well, this past week against Oklahoma, that wasn't the case. They did take care of business against Oklahoma, but they've got Vandy today.
That'll be a test.
And last Saturday, Vanderbilt got behind Oklahoma, 15, 20 points, and came back on them and just about won the game. They got beat by one. And, of course, Vandy's got an excellent basketball team, so the Vols are over there Saturday, and I think they got a game next week out Missouri way. So they've got 2 tough games coming up.
Sure do.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But got Dan Mitchell here this morning, played basketball at Maryville College, and we're going to talk a little bit about days gone by up there and the old coach, Boydson Baird, who was around a long time, and get some input on Dan on what went on back in those days. But tell our listeners, Dan, when you played at Maryville College, what years?
Mid-60s, 63, 67.
Yeah.
It's
and you took those years there at Maryville College, and then you just went on and played some more, didn't you? Intramural ball and so forth. I know about that because you drugged me out of the bank to play on that intramural team, and I spent most of my time after those games in the bathtub soaking up injuries and so forth.
I'll never forget the number of fouls you took, but it was a true beating.
Yeah, I didn't have enough insurance to play in those games, so it was a one-year experience, I can tell you that. Yeah, that was Boydson Baird was the coach, is that right?
That's correct. He was also the athletic director, baseball coach, coached football, and basketball. So
you name it, he did.
He did it all.
Yes, he did.
And, I just mentioned Tony Hinkle, at Butler.
Right.
Tony Hinkle at Butler University, he coached football, basketball, baseball, track and field, was the athletic director at Butler University, and they couldn't pay him enough money, Dan. So he got all the concessions for the games at Butler Fieldhouse, and also the concessions during the high school basketball tournament. 14,500 fans would come in there for 4 weeks of the high school basketball tournament, and he got all the concession money, and they said he loaded that cash up in his Cadillac and took it to the bank down Indianapolis. So, amazing story. I don't think Boydson had that deal, but you can expound on that a little bit if you want to.
Well, you have a campus that's at that time, we probably had 800 to 1,000 students at the most, 1,000. So you're not getting 14,000 some odd people, buying concessions there.
Yeah. Yeah. And you came down here from, I guess the Northeast, right?
Just outside.
And how did you end up here? How did you end up down here?
Well, it's a long story, but where to begin here? My high school English teacher's son, a year ahead of me at my high school, went down to Maryville College, and he told his mother how much he loved it and everything, and I got interested in the school and came down here, and it's a great place.
Yeah,
great place.
And stayed until we're talking right here this morning.
We're still here.
Yeah, yeah.
We're still here. Well, just imagine. It's a lot better place to raise a family down in this community than it would have been back home just outside of Philly.
Yeah.
That's my opinion anyway.
Coach Baird, you got some information on where he coached before he came to Maryville College. A lot of people don't know this, but he did have coaching experience before he came in here, right?
Yeah, he did. He coached at William & Mary for about 3 or 4 years, and then he eventually came down to here, and he coached here for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And stuff. He was a graduate of Maryville College. He graduated in 1941. And then World War II came along, and he was in World War II. And then after that was over, Maryville College.
There you go.
Well, in order, you went to William & Mary and then to Maryville College. And he had a player at Maryville College that apparently I reminded him of. His last name was Hubbard. And he would get confused sometimes, and I'd be sitting in my normal spot next to him on the bench. and when he wanted to put me in, he'd sometimes forget my last name and call me Hubbard.
Oh, you're Hubbard.
and it took me a while to get used to it, and then I didn't really know whether I was supposed to change numbers or anything, was it coming in as Hubbard or I was supposed to go in as Mitchell? I didn't know.
Yeah. But, did Coach Baird, did he recruit players at Maryville College, or did he just take students that were there that came in, or how did that work out back in those days?
That's probably the only reason I played. They just took students that came in.
That's right. He did not recruit. There was not much recruiting.
Maryville College still does not give athletic scholarships. They're a D3 school now. I don't believe they had a D1, D2, D3 designation back then. You either gave scholarships or you didn't.
I see.
And Maryville College has always taken pride in, no, we're just got the athletes that they're the one to play. And they're true student athletes. I was probably not the best example of either being a student or an athlete.
Well, you got through.
Yeah, I did.
You got through. That's
Yeah,
what
I did.
counts.
Yeah,
That's what
did.
counts. Coach Baird, his practices. Talk a little bit about his practices.
Dwelled on fundamentals a lot, and conditioning.
Yeah.
And since I ran track, conditioning wasn't an issue for me. But you had a lot of people that the only time they were active is when they played basketball during the season.
Yeah.
But there was another fellow that was on the team with me, David Alexander. David, the year before he got to Maryville College, he was the Tennessee State decathlon champion.
Wow.
And he and I would sometimes get put into these exercises that Coach Baird wanted to make an example out of us. See, I'd go, oh, look how good conditioned these two are, you know. It'd wear us out. But he really dwelled on fundamentals, footwork, blocking out and stuff, which some of the modern-day players could learn how to do instead of going over their back all the time.
Sounds like he dwelled on basketball to me. That's what basketball's all about. All of those things.
I coached 1 year with Boyce and Baird when I got out of college. That 1 year, Randy Lambert was on that team that I coached, and we had a pretty good basketball team that year. You know, we were, but I always enjoyed Coach Baird. I thought he was the most laid-back, animated guy I've ever seen in my life. It's hard to believe that somebody could be so animated and so laid back.
That's a good way to describe it.
That's about the best description I can have of it.
He animated himself out of a few games here and there.
He did. Yes.
Yeah. But I was always amazed. You know, he had some words when he got upset. But they weren't.
Oh no!
They weren't. Yeah, it was just Jiminy Cricket and holy gosh,
He had a raspy voice at times.
Yeah.
And you hear this Jiminy Crickets, and then next thing you know, I'd hear this Hubbard getting the game.
Yeah.
And I'd look around to see who Hubbard was.
Yeah. I don't really know how it would be to coach. Go from one sport to another sport to another sport. Back then, it'd be almost possible now to do that because you'd almost have to recruit, and even your D3 you got to recruit today. But it would almost be impossible to do as many sports as he did back in the day. But did you ever see any wear and tear on him? From of course basketball always came after football, so that was. But by the time he got to baseball and track, did you see?
Baseball. I think he really loved baseball. Probably more than he did any of them. He had a player on that team that I'm sure you've heard of down here, Benny Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
Coached up here at Maryville High School and then went on down to, Etowah, or I think he coached down to Etowah.
Cleveland, maybe.
Cleveland.
Cleveland. But Benny was in the outfield, and Coach Baird gave him a bunt sign with men on base. Apparently, Benny either didn't see it or didn't like what he saw. And he took the next pitch and put it across the fence into the football field, way out in left field. Hit the home run, comes in, touches home plate. And this will give you a clue about Coach Baird. So I gave you the bunt sign. You didn't take it. You're out of the game. Sit down. So if you had to do things the way he wanted them done, or you sat.
Right. It mattered. Yeah. I remember coaching a few basketball games, sitting beside him, and we'd have somebody maybe hit 2 or 3 shots from the outside, but they did something they weren't supposed to do, and bang, they were out of the game. And I'm going, Coach, he just hit 3 in a row right here. Are you really sure about this decision to pull him out of the game?
I know all about that.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but he was good for the players. He really was. I mean, he set a really if you're looking at Coach Boyce and Baird, you're looking at a guy with a lot of character, and if you want to play for a coach or you want to have your child play for a coach, he instilled a lot of good characteristics in his players, don't you think?
Definitely. Like you said, I came down here from just outside of Philadelphia, around 600 miles. They didn't have the interstates completed back then.
No.
Anything. And you get homesick. And Coach Baird was just like a father.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say outside of my father, he's probably the best person I've ever known. I hate to hurt your feelings on that, Mike.
Yeah. He's a jewel. He definitely was a jewel.
Oh, yeah. And I remember seeing him at New Providence Church on Sundays, sitting next to Jimmy Campbell, another local legend.
Yeah, there's two animated individuals right there.
Hey,
you can put Jimmy Campbell in there.
You ought to play golf with him sometime.
Yeah. What kind of teams did you have, Dan, basketball-wise, there at the college?
Back in the 60s, the talent on the team that I participated on wasn't the best in the world. But shortly after I graduated, he became a better coach because you had better players.
That makes you a better coach.
Yeah, But it was back in the days where you didn't have a three-point shot, and you understand that. Didn't have a clock. Ray Mears, your era, that was the same way. And if you get a lead, you can try to sit on it the best you could. Unfortunately, at times we didn't really have the best ball handlers and turn the ball over. Kind of like UT, if we did get a lead, we quite often squandered it.
What about his getting of players? Back to that, did he get a lot of local players? I mean, they get quite a few local players now, and there's football and basketball.
Okay.
And I know football at one time they went to Florida to get a lot of players. But Randy, he seemed to get a lot of players when he was coaching at the college, local around here.
Randy was a lot more active as far as recruiting people were concerned. I think Coach was laid back, and if you got down here and you wanted to play and, you're good enough, he played you.
Yeah.
Right.
But we had one local kid I don't think anybody heard of, Bill Paget.
Oh, my gosh.
Nah, nobody's ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Was Bill on your team?
He was a freshman my senior year, I believe.
Yeah, well,
and
you probably didn't get many shots, when Bill.
Well, you just passed
Bill
the ball.
showed up,
It reminded me of you. Pass the ball in, pass the ball in. You never get it back.
Yeah. Well, Bill could put it in.
Well, you could.
Yeah, he was an absolutely outstanding player.
I think he
Alcoa. He played Alcoa, but didn't coach. Pat played Alcoa, and then he went up to the college. But he really had a good, great college career.
I think he ended up being the number one men's scorer up there at Maryville College.
Yeah.
And we had another character on that team, Jack Llewellyn. Now, you may not have heard of Jack as far as basketball or baseball. He was a Bearden product.
Oh, okay.
And his claim to fame was the sports psychologist for the Atlanta Braves.
Wow.
And everything. But he was a pitcher for Coach as well, and played basketball, lefty. And over there in the gym, and they had these old glass paned, windows over there, and he overthrew the catcher warming up, and it hit the glass and didn't even crack it. That's all there was. I didn't have any more.
Now, since you're out, and you've been out a long time, and you can't get in trouble with the NCAA, tell our listeners what kind of benefits you got on the side there at Maryville College.
Oh, I can hardly wait to tell you this. You could get a student help job, which paid 90 cents an hour. And I think my job was to go ahead and clean up the chemistry lab area. And I did that about 3 times a week. So let's see, it takes an hour. You made $2.70 a week. Not necessarily NIL money. When
that's not even a tank of gas.
Yeah,
hardly back then.
So when we would practice, and Coach, we would stay late. And at Maryville College, they had family-style dining. Everybody, this is our table. We're all eating together every day of the week. Mm-hmm. And dinner was from such and such a time you had to either be there or you're not going to eat. And by the time we would get there from practice, you walk in there, the food's gone. about at least 3 times a week. So we would end up getting a cheeseburger over at the student center, and that was it. But yeah, the perks, you've heard them all.
Yeah. Well, that sounds a shade above the $15 a month laundry money we were getting over there.
Yeah, you were getting that $15
a month. There wasn't very many fringe benefits, so to speak. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't trade my experience back then for what's going on now. I don't know how you feel about it. I would. It's like, and I'm sure it was the same way at Maryville College when I was recruited at UT and recruited to play other places. The goal. All the time growing up with my family and my dad and so forth. I had 3 brothers, and of course they couldn't send me to college, was to get a scholarship. It wasn't about going and playing pro basketball or any of the things that they talk about today. It was going and get your education, and that's what we did. If you got a scholarship, that's great, but the end was to try to get a college degree, and of course that's kind of gone by the wayside a little bit.
Well, it sure has. It seems like they're one and done. And
yeah, a lot of them. And we talked a little bit about this last week, and they promote that so much. And come to our school, we get you ready for pro basketball and so forth. But you look at the pros, man. The lifespan of a pro basketball player, if you're good enough to make it, which that's a big if, is around 4.5 to 5 years. We looked that up last week. That's not very long. So if you're one and done at 19 and you play 5 years, you're 24. You got a lifetime. And you don't have your college degree, and sure you've got some money, but is that going to last you all the rest of your life?
Unless you can find an Alabama judge that wants to let you come back from playing pro ball. That's
you might
fine.
be able to do that. And go in. Hey, in all the, your track and field and your basketball up there at the college, what was your big moment? What was your shining light moment?
I'm not sure I had one, Mike.
Well, you got your Terry. Terry's right beside you. Can you not say, well, it was meeting Terry there at the college? And
you just got me in trouble. Mercy. When you look at things retrospectively, the people you get to meet and become lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And when I was at Maryville College, back then, you were not allowed to have cars on campus. It was the only people that had cars or access to them were town students, townies as we like to call them. Mm-hmm. So you got to be friends with them so they could, every now and then you could bum a ride to Knoxville or something like that. But you got to have lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
And it's great. Oh yeah, we've been married now for. I'm in trouble. We're closing in on 57 years.
Wow.
So, it's, she saw me play, and she still puts up with me.
We've been married 106, 53 years apiece, so you got us beat by a couple. Yeah. Terry Mitchell, Dan's wife's here with us. And Terry, you were there at the same time, is that correct?
Yes, I was a freshman when he was a senior.
Yeah, and you can remember Boyce and Baird, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Did you have any classes with him? Did he have to teach too?
Not that I know of.
I see.
And I never had any classes with him, but when you say the name Boyce and Baird, I just smile.
Yeah.
The memories of him walking across campus and talking to the students. And, he lived right across campus. Even after he retired, he'd come over campus all the time to watch games and talk to students and just be there, just be a presence.
Yeah.
And he was something else. He was a good man.
I had the pleasure of coaching at Carson Newman for a few years when I got when I left Maryville College. I was working on my master's degree at UT and helped Boyce in that year. And then I went to Carson Newman. They hired me up there as assistant basketball coach, Gene Mahaffey. So I got to know Frosty Holt, who was a legend.
Frosty.
He was sort of like Boyce and Baird here at Maryville.
Yes, he
was.
was.
So I would just sit there at the gym just picking Frosty's mind about how it was, and he could just tell you all these different stories. And of course, he coached a lot of different sports at Carson Newman back at the time. I think that was kind of the rule. I mean, if you coach, you just didn't coach one, you coached several. And of course, he had a lot of stories. And then I had the experience there for 1 year with Boyce and Barrett, and all the stories and so forth. But you guys can comment on this, but just one of the easiest guys you'd ever want to talk to. I mean, he was just easy to talk to, wasn't he?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
His wife, Nancy, was a jewel. And but again, the whole family, it's Maryville.
It was a family experience. Everything about there was it was his family. All the professors, all the coaches, all the students. Everybody was a family.
Yeah, everybody was right there, and that makes a lot of difference too. If you have that type of atmosphere. Dan, if you could do it all over again, what would you do different?
Maybe study a little more, but that's about it. I wouldn't sweat the exams as much, but no, not much. It was a great experience in my life. Like I said, you made lifelong friends.
Yeah. And Terry, what kind of player was Dan? Did you go to a lot of the games?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yes. Yeah, he did quite well for himself.
Yeah. And the players that you played with at that time, did a lot of them stay around here, or have they gone to different parts of the country?
A lot of people stayed here. It became their home. Of course, there's one guy that was from here, from Walland area. You know him, Mike Dalton.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the team with me
Sure.
and that stuff, but did quite well for himself.
He did indeed.
What do you think, before we get out of here, what do you think about the way things are now, not at the college, but overall with all the NIL money that's being pitched around out there?
I understand the concept that the players want to be compensated.
Sure.
For their efforts. The coaches are making millions of dollars and stuff, but I believe it's gotten out of hand, and they need to have some sort of.
Already, it's gotten out of hand already.
It's like you've heard described. What rules? There are no rules right now, it seems like, and it's very arbitrary what the NCAA does. As far as I can tell, LeBron James could quit playing basketball for the Lakers and have 4 years eligibility left,
Because he didn't go to college.
So
came straight out of high school.
But it's out of control, and
definitely
the players at Maryville College right now, D3 school, they're a different breed of person. It's not just the ability of playing ball that separates them. They're playing because they just love the game.
Right.
You have a lot of people that are getting NIL money. There's no loyalty. I'm not going to play unless I get this amount of money, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah, it really is. I'm looking for that one player somewhere out there that can give me a breath of fresh air, and he's a one and done, and he has this great freshman year at the school, and the pros are all after him, and he goes, I'm here to get my education, and I'm going to get my education, and when I get my education, then I'll look at the next step. There was a guy that did that. Peyton Manning did that. Listen, Peyton Manning could have left here, after his sophomore, or whenever he could have, because they had some rules back at that day. But, he stuck it out. He stuck it out, and I know that a lot of them will say, well, I could get hurt or da-da-da-da. But, once you give up that college experience, it's over. There's a lot to say about college. And a 19-year-old kid or an 18-year-old kid entering the college, and as far as a maturity standpoint and learning to get along with other people and going to class and have the discipline of going to school and playing basketball, there's a lot to be said for that lifestyle, which you throw a 19-year-old kid into the pros, and a lot of those stories and situations are not always good. There's a lot of sad stories that come out with people that jump a little bit too early. But
with the NIL money, you've got people that are 25 years old trying to still play college ball.
Yeah. Well, Dan and Terry, I'm glad you came this morning and we were able to talk some
glad to be
Maryville
here.
College's
Be good to see
basketball in here.
everybody.
And I want,
Yeah.
if you can, I want you to stick around because we're going to talk a little bit more later on the show, and we'll talk a little bit about UT sports and so forth. But I'd like to have you stay if you can.
Sure.
Would love to.
Okie doke. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school basketball scores from around the area and some other news around the area. And veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons will join us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the GoTeez sports page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the GoTeez sports page. And Donnie Moore, you're up. And by golly, high school basketball, it's tournament time. It's upon us. And, you know, I picked up or looked on my computer there the other day, and they're getting ready to fire up the basketball tournament in Indiana.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you know what that means.
A little bit of a different situation
when
up
they
there.
fire up that basketball tournament up there, that means snow. And I was looking at the weather report down here next week, and we're looking at some snow flurries after
true.
some, 70-degree weather. So that northern deal, they just continue. I wish they'd get over Indiana winning the national championship, quit sending us that cold weather up there, wouldn't you?
It's tournament weather.
Yes, whatever. But, hey, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mike. Let's move into our realty, Mandy B. Street Realty Local Focus. And you know, if you got any realty needs, Mandy B. Street's the person to see, the lady to see. She'll take care of you. She's attentive, she's kind, she's efficient. You know, that's what you want a realtor to be. So, Mandy B. Street, thank you for sponsorship of this segment. Let's move into district tournament prep hoops. Some of these were played, and not all these were yesterday, last night. Some of them have been played on different days. But let's start with Alcoa versus Sequoia. Alcoa girls won that one 62-37. Congratulations, girls and coach. We got them sitting here waiting to. They're waiting the next up over here. And Alcoa boys also had a victory, 85-60 over Sequoia. So they will advance in the tournament. Eagleton at Gatlinburg Pittman did not get a score on the girls' game. The boys' game was a massacre. Gatlinburg Pittman won this one 80-30. Yeah, 80-30. So
I think that was a 6-1, 8-1 matchup. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And then moving on to Greenback, I don't have a girls' score for them either, but boys' score was 66-44 in favor of the Harriman Blue Devils. Usually have a pretty good team. Heritage versus Loudon in the tournament. Heritage won a twin bill right there, 48-34 in the girls' game, and 64-51 in the boys' game. Maryville versus William Blount. I have a boys' score for you. William Blount, by virtue of being one of the 4 top seeds, will move on to the regional tournament, but they got pasted pretty good last night, 78-41 by the Rebels.
And before you go on, we was talking about before the show.
Uh-huh.
They're moving on to the region.
Yes.
They'll play, I guess, maybe today, or for that third
probably
spot.
so.
But if they don't get that third spot, they're going to probably be looking at Bearden over there in that region.
That's always a tough place to play, tough draw. Yeah. Sure is. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Seymour versus Fulton in the girls' contest. Seymour wins this one 46-41, and in the boys' game versus Cocke County, Seymour wins 68-54. Marcus also gave me some information about the Blount County Middle School All-Star game, Blount County versus Sevier County. And Blount County takes a twin bill right there. Takes a sweep, has a sweep of Sevier County, 54-50 in the girls' game and 51-48 in overtime for the boys. So congratulations to Blount County Middle School All-Stars.
That was their the fourth year in a row that the boys have won that game. So
nice.
Lots of talent coming up into these high schools.
Well, we can stand that, huh?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of talent in our high schools as it stands, Donnie.
Yeah, I know.
I really like, and our guests are going to kind of confirm that here for us in a little while.
I know what you mean. All right. That's all I've got. Marcus, you got anything to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. So
aren't you going to announce that they're having the soccer jamboree? Caleb's out there in the soccer.
That's true.
Jamboree.
Caleb's supposed to be over at Heritage.
I don't know whether that's going on or not, but it's raining pretty hard.
Jamboree.
If it's not, he may have looked at the window and just turned over in bed. I don't know, but yeah, that's going on here this morning. The soccer's getting ready to fire up.
Yeah, we may call him here in a few minutes and text him and see how what's going on with the
we got
jamboree.
soccer, and I'm sure softball and baseball's getting ready. And
they're cranked up.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of sports going on here in the county.
We sure do. I tell you, early spring sports.
Yeah.
I call them late winter sports because I used to ride around on the golf cart, freeze my cookies off.
They can
going
start
to ball games.
They can start a little bit earlier down here because of the weather, but I remember starting early in Indiana, and we had to use those. I called them sugar-coated balls. They were rubber-coated balls.
Yes.
Every time they hit the bat, they about took your hands apart. So anyway,
that's true. That's true. Well, that's all I've got for the Mandy B Street Realty Local Focus. And you know what? I'm gonna hand it off now to my friend and colleague, veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature, Mark It Down. You're listening to WKCE 92.5 FM and 1180 AM Mid-Century Radio. Marcus?
Well, thanks, Donnie.
You're welcome.
I've moved back into the friend category this week. I'm excited by that. I was kind of like a compadre last week. It's nice to move on up.
That's okay. I overlooked some things.
But we're pleased because we've got the Alcoa girls basketball team in this morning joining us. Fresh off their semifinal win, they're headed to the district championship game on Monday. Coach Bauman's brought a couple of the players. And, Coach, let me start with you. You got the kind of start you want in a tournament. You came out fired up from the very beginning. There was no letdown. You all were up by 22 in the first quarter. That's got to make you feel good when the postseason starts.
Definitely, and we talked about it for a while, coming out with a sense of urgency, that it is tournament time, and we wanted to play like that. And we've talked a lot about just playing connected on the offensive end and the defensive end, and the whole first half, really, especially, we did that. Connected defensively, communicating, talking, switching, picking up in our press with a sense of urgency. And on the offensive end, we really shared the ball well and just played together.
Well, you've got two of the Lady T's with you. Tell us who you brought this morning.
So I've got sophomore point guard Katie Bremer, and I say point guard, but she really does a whole lot of things for us and plays all over. With her size, she can go in and play in the post, guard in the post, and she knows basically every position we've got. And really gives us a lot of versatility and allows us to kind of substitute freely anywhere, and she'll just kind of make it right. And then we've got senior post player wing Maddie Stewart, who's been a 3-year starter for us and 3-year all-district player as well, and has been a great leader for us this year. And again, is probably our vocal leader, one of our vocal leaders, and emotional leaders as well.
So, Coach, you all started you schedule aggressively, in that, especially in that with such a small district. did you have more opportunity to kind of go out and find some opponents earlier in the year than you usually do?
We did, and we also faced some adversity early in the year. You know, we started off with one of our rotation players, one of our top 8 players had a broken hand, another one had mono, and then right before Christmas, we catch the flu as a team. Had quite a few. So, you know, had to go pretty deep into the bench and play. And as you said, we're playing a tough schedule. We want to challenge ourselves because basketball is a tournament sport. And so I was looking at it the other day. You know, we've played 18 games against teams that have 20 wins. And a lot of again, some of those teams we've played twice is counting in that. But, you know, a lot of those teams are bigger schools as well. Sevier County, Bearden, you know, Webb, the defending state, large school private state champs. You know, those are some teams that we know are going to be, you know, region, semi, you know, state tournament type teams, and we want to challenge ourselves playing those types of teams.
So I'll throw this to the players. And I was setting you all up by asking that question to Coach. From here on out, everybody's your size. Is that kind of a bit of a relief because you all were taking on Maryville and Webb and Bearden in the final 10 days of the season, and now you just get to play guys your size. Is that a bit of a relief?
I mean, I would say yeah, but also at the same time, like when we go into those games against bigger schools, I don't think we ever show up scared of nobody, and I feel like that is a big reason of why we handle people who are our size so well, just because we are used to playing bigger teams and handling those bigger teams just fine.
So we'll pick on Katie a little bit here, but Coach didn't mention it, but you led the team in scoring last night. The ball was going around a lot. You had a lot of players scoring, but well, I will take it back. You had 11, JC had 13. But how well does this team share the ball? Because that kind of falls in your responsibility a little bit there.
This team shares the ball like really well. We try to like hit the open person and like make the right choices on offense, and it just allows us to score as many points as we do and like have points distributed throughout the players instead of just focusing on one person.
And Coach talked a little bit about it because I don't think many people realize just everything that happened to this team in November, December. You know, we talk to a lot of teams and they talk about, you know, they went to the beach or whatever for Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's for one of those tournaments, and that was when we kind of bonded. Do you bond over having the flu? I mean, did that bring this team together? Were you all texting each other being like, do you have Kleenexes left? Or, I mean, did that kind of bring you all together to pass the flu around, I guess?
I feel like, yeah, because I was one of the people who was at home with like 104 degree fever. But I feel like, yeah, because also at the same time it gives girls opportunities to, like, I feel like it gave a lot of girls opportunities to show what they can do outside of, like our bench players that don't get to play as often stepped up really well and, like, showed us that they can do just as good or better than some of the people who play all the time, you know what I mean? And I feel like that made everything a lot more competitive, which brought us together a lot more and helped us and practice and helped us, like, just work hard to get better. And I feel like pushing through that adversity and going harder against each other is what has helped us, like, develop a lot this season.
You know, that depth helps. I mean, coaches love depth, but for a player, you know, sometimes coach may be saying don't pick up that fifth, but you've got a little bit of freedom. Though, if you've got somebody good behind you, you know they're not going to lose anything if I go ahead and try. So it can make a little bit of a difference sometimes when you've got that security behind you. Coach, what did you say to him? Because you have to. I mean, you kind of have to flip the switch from the way that the schedule landed for the last 10 days, where you've got Webb, Bearden, Maryville, and then you've got to be up and ready to play a team that you've beaten twice. Mm-hmm. So obviously it worked. What did you promise them? Snacks? Was there a trip to Bojangles in there? What exactly was?
I'm real fortunate to coach a great group of girls and a competitive group of girls, and you know, we've talked a lot about what we are building towards, and we like to use the phrase, you know, we're built for this. And again, the whole purpose of our schedule was to be built for tournament time, because tournament time is not going to be easy, and you're going to have to fight and scratch to get some wins. And you know, you can't develop that type of toughness and fight and grit if you don't go through some of it and go through some adversity. And so that's why we like to challenge ourselves. And, you know, as Maddie pointed out, you know, we get after it pretty good in practice, and we have a competitive group. You know, we feel like we've got 8 girls that can start for most teams around here. And we've had 8 girls scoring double figures at points of time this year. We've had at least 7 lead us in scoring at some point in time. Maybe the 8th person has as well. So we've got that, you know, competitiveness in practice as well, where we can just, again, push each other and challenge each other. And you can't ever just take it easy. So I think that mindset we have each day in practice, you know, carries over to nights like that in the first round of the district tournament.
So the one we're going to ask you about, and we're not being unfair. We threw this question at Coach Howard back in the beginning of the year. But Alcoa and Heritage, it's always been a city-county kind of rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
But realignment throwing you all in the same district. Mm-hmm. With where both programs were coming in, where everybody could pretty much label, it's going to be one of these two. Mm-hmm. Has that added a degree of difficulty to this rivalry game? Has it made it something more than it was the last, 4, 5, 10 years?
We're just excited for the opportunity to play them and be in that district. And, they've set the standard in this district for the last few years, and they're the defending state champs for a reason. And, again, that's just another challenge for us that we, here it is. Here's the blueprint for what it's going to take. And we knew from the get-go there's a pretty good chance, we'll probably see them 4 times. And so we've talked about after each time we played them this year, don't get too high, don't get too low. They're champs, and they're going to continue to fight. And the next game will be tougher, and the game after that will be tougher. Mm-hmm. And so we, again, fully anticipated seeing them again. Monday, which we are, and if both of us play up to our capabilities, we feel like that it won't be the last again. And so great program, and Coach Howard does a great job, and again, it's a great opportunity for us to just challenge ourselves as well. So
the format's a little bit different, though, and I saw you kind of mouthing to Donnie, but now that this realignment, we're only doing, 2 teams going to region from each district now, or are we still doing 4?
No, still do 4.
Still do 4? Okay. And you're all doing district. Who's hosting this year?
For district, it's at Heritage.
It's at Heritage this year.
Yes, sir.
So to go out and see the championship game with you taking on Heritage, that's Monday at 7:30, right?
Yes, sir, at Heritage.
So you need to gather all the Alcoa fans possible to make the trek. Make the trek up Lamar Alexander and come support y'all on Monday night, right?
Most definitely. And we, Alcoa, I tell the girls all the time, we're lucky in this community to have a community that loves the high school, loves Alcoa sports, and supports us. And there's big responsibility with that. So we know the Alcoa community will show up, and as I said, we're excited for the opportunity.
So for the players, at what point did the first time you all met with Heritage? I know there was a little bit of nerves and there was a little bit of excitement about that. And for the people who weren't keeping score at home, y'all took both those regular season games. At what point did you feel like, okay, this is just us playing a game? Like the nerves and excitement kind of went away and it became just us versus them?
For me, I feel like in all big games like that, I let it all build up. But as soon as that tip-off happens, I'm like, okay, it's just a game. But, for Heritage, it's different for me just because I've never played them before. This was my first year playing them in high school. And, obviously, I know all those girls. I grew up playing AAU with all of them, and it was really exciting to get to play them and like that. And they are a really good team, and it was just exciting to get to play someone in our district and have that rivalry because that's always fun. It's always just a fun game to have a good competitive basketball game, and I feel like as soon as that tip-off happens, it's like you got to lock in and just know it's just a game and you're just out there doing what you do every day.
Katie, what was it like for you?
For me, it's as soon as I step on the court, all my nerves are gone. I know I have a team to back me up. They've always got my back. They're there for me. I can give it to them. They can score. We just share the ball, so there's no need to be nervous.
This one isn't a fair question, but that doesn't stop us here. You moved into a district, and we can honestly say from what we saw last year, if you can win this district, you can go on and win state, if you can get out of this side. So is it kind of a good feeling to have that kind of a testing bar, so to say, that if you can be a 1 or 2 seed, if you can get out of this region and get to sectional, that you are competitive with just about anybody?
Yeah, that feels really good, especially as well as we did do in district regular season this year, and, I mean, as good as we've done in tournament so far. But I feel like it feels really good to have that because it's like I feel like as a team we're very much like we can do this. Like this is a very reasonable goal that we have, and I feel like it's just bringing us together more and a feeling like this is something we can do and like it's something that we are going to do. You know what I mean? I feel like it's just very motivating.
So I'm going to pick on you because you're the senior on this one. Every team's a different team every season. Sometimes some months of the season are different seasons. But when you're the senior and it's your year to be one of the leaders, did this group of seniors get together? Did you all talk about it going in? I mean, how did it kind of work out that this is how we want to run our senior year?
Yeah, and I feel like Ballman met with us early in the like before we even came in to do like conditioning stuff, and he really just talked to us about like looking at who we had as seniors going through as underclassmen and like taking things from them that we like had and just like putting ourselves in like what we felt as underclassmen and like wondering what we would want as underclassmen and what we needed as underclassmen and trying to give that to them and like things we did get or things we didn't get, like just trying to put that onto them and giving them truly just like a great experience. Because at the end of the day, like I'm with these girls every day, like they're my family. Like at the end of the day, I just want them to feel loved and feel like they have like a space to come into where they can really just do their best every single day and just feel like I'm there for them. And I feel like that's how we as a senior class wanted them all to feel, just that they were comfortable and they had a space where they could really just truly work on basketball and themselves and not have to worry about anything else.
The rest should take care of itself,
Yeah.
right?
So, Katie, from the other perspective of that, as the sophomore, what was it like coming into this year? I mean,
It was amazing.
Like high school's changed. From freshman to sophomore year, high school changes, and you're kind of like, okay, I know the building, I know where I'm going, all that sort of stuff goes on. So was it a little bit different coming in this year and adjusting to this team?
Honestly, for me, not really. Like, the seniors last year made us feel loved, and the seniors this year are just even more loving. Like, it just keeps getting better and better. Like, the family keeps growing, and we become closer and closer, and it just makes school and basketball easier.
So, Coach, I'm going to give you fashion kudos this week because everybody's in Alcoa gear. It's all the same shades of gray and the same shades of that maroon. We're going to give thumbs up for that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, y'all look sharp. We're
classy.
We are sponsored by GoTeez, so we like to give shouts out to the apparel that goes in there. Y'all look good.
I can't ever take any credit for our gear because I let the seniors each year pick that out, so that's not my forte.
Well, that's a very smart coach who understands these things. I will give you props on that. Coach, I'll give you a chance to do some of the shout-outs because I know when you get to this point in the season, there's a lot of people that have helped out along the way, home games, away games, driving buses, keeping scores, and that sort of stuff. Who's really helped out this team this year?
For me personally, I'll start with my wife at home, obviously, and she's been a coach's wife for 30 years now. So she gets the deal. Now she's coach's wife and a player's mom. So it's a little different, been a different season for her, adjusting. So her, first of all, but all my assistants are just outstanding. Taylor Brown, Jamie Delaney, and Daly Cunningham. And shout out Taylor and Daly because Daly's expecting and Taylor's wife is expecting. So that's been a fun experience for the girls to go through with them. And they're both expecting their first child. And through that time, still putting a lot of time with us and a lot of commitment with us. And I just can't thank those three enough. And honestly, those three are probably the heartbeat of our team. And they do so much for me to make my job easier. And like I said, the Alcoa community as a whole, our administration is so supportive. Sports are important at Alcoa, and it's a big deal. And girls' sports especially are important at Alcoa. And that's important to me as the coach, but as also a girl dad as well, and that means a lot. So, our administration, our community is just I could give you an Alcoa commercial, what it sounds like, but I just appreciate it.
I've seen her on Jumbotron, and I saw what they did to Coach Nix for football. So if you volunteer, They might do it.
Yeah,
You never know.
That's a little more Nix's role than mine, probably.
Well, the only thing is you got to line up those. You got to start winning some state trophies to line up across the court to do that little walk.
That would make a difference, wouldn't it?
That's all on you guys to work out. All right, you guys can handle that. Coach, we appreciate you coming in this morning on Saturday and joining us. And for Katie and Maddie, thank you for coming in, because I know as teenagers getting up on Saturday morning to do the radio was top of your list today, especially after the game yesterday. We wish you the best of luck in the district tournament, and our standing invitation is you can get a ticket back in here. You just trade your state championship trophy being on the table, and you're welcome to come back and talk to us.
Thank you.
Mike, we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Marcus, I was just sitting here listening to all this, and you got two. It's at Heritage and it's Alcoa. You got two outstanding basketball programs going at each other. You got two outstanding coaches going at each other with similar characteristics coaching-wise, both very calm, very laid back, never get upset, always keeping everything in the right moment. Should be a it's going to be a backyard brawl at the very least. You were really nice through all of it, though, I thought.
I have inside information from Robbie Bennett that everything will be bolted to the floor.
Yeah.
So there will be everything will be fine at Heritage on Monday night.
All right. Coach Bowman, always glad to see you up here, and good luck to you on Monday night. Nothing like basketball this time of year.
No, it's the best time of year.
Yeah, you got that. Hey, time to turn the page. Next up is the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the GoTeez Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 100 years. And Marcus Fitzsimmons, you going to turn it over to me, or how are we going to do it?
Go, Marcus.
All right, so we just had this really nice long conversation, and as you've heard, there's a lot of basketball going on.
Yes.
And not everybody is in the position to be waiting till Monday. We have a lot going on tonight with district tournament action. We've also got play days going on for soccer, at softball, and I think there are a couple tentative baseball scrimmages. So, Mike, we're going to let you handle this segment because you do it so well.
Okay. All right. I'm ready to go. Mike Edwards. I am here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Terry and Dan Mitchell, and we've been talking a little bit about Maryville College sports, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But want to weigh on some UT news. UT news right now, and I guess the big news coming from over there is the Tennessee State judge has denied Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar's request for another year of eligibility. He spent 2 years at Diablo Valley Community College, 2 years at Appalachian State, 1 year at Tennessee. He's 24 years old, and they didn't give him another year, Dan. Is that a surprise to you? And that was a Tennessee court that ruled on that, and a Tennessee guy, the judge.
Yeah.
Well, at least we didn't do Alabama's route.
Yeah, or Mississippi. You know, maybe Mississippi gave their
Yeah.
quarterback another year down there.
Yeah.
So now Tennessee, you know, they're without a proven quarterback going into next year. You know, McIntyre, who was the backup quarterback, George McIntyre, he's up at UConn. He left and went up there, and now they're down to Jake Merklinger and Ryan Staub that they brought in from Colorado, and Fazan Brandon, who's a freshman. So I don't know. I've never seen an SEC program or a school that's gone lights out with a quarterback that's going in unproven.
Better get back to the transfer portal.
So I'm not one to put bad news out there for Tennessee football next year.
Mm-hmm.
But Marcus, you can comment a little bit about this. But I think this is just a little bit on the devastating side as far as the program's concerned.
You know, I'm thinking back here, and Donnie helped me out.
Okay.
But I'm thinking if we go back and pull the tapes from the shows in February of 25, I think Mike was saying almost the exact same thing about how we didn't know how this Aguilar kid was going to, whose hair UCLA didn't want him. I'm not worried. I'm really not. Because
it'll work out.
You've got a guy that's been in the program. I think that not throwing him into the fire right away was probably the best thing, because I think we're getting to the point that where you were starting a freshman right out of high school and college is just like making a rookie start in the NFL. It's just it just doesn't work out well. And there are times when I see coaches doing that, especially at quarterback, where I wish we still had the rule you played under, where I don't think you should let a freshman have to go out there in some cases. Because if you've got an 18-year-old kid out there and he's getting tackled by a 24-year-old defensive lineman who's on his second COVID year or whatever, that's not exactly fair. That is literally men against boys. So, but I'm not worried, because you've had a quarterback who's been there, he's learned the system, he knows what the coach wants. So I think you do that. I don't think you have to worry. There's going to be competition in spring ball, and whoever wins out is going to get a lot of undivided attention over the summer.
Well, Aguilar came in here, you know, and he was unproven, but, you know, he had a couple of good years at Appalachian State, and he was all set to go at UCLA before he came here. And yes, I had my doubts.
Well, we all did.
Well, I think Mike told me he would throw it to the other team more often than UT.
Let me finish here. What did he finish? He finished 8-5. Is that correct?
Yep.
8-5. That's not contending for an SEC championship, and that's not going for the playoffs.
No.
And this program's looking for the best bet for next year, a guy that went 8-5. So I think it was a blow not getting him back with the experience that he got in the SEC last year. Now you got to start all over again, and you know McIntyre was third in line.
Well,
on the depth chart last year during the season.
I think you're right to an extent. I think the fact that he filed the case had more of an impact on Tennessee than not getting him back, because it did impact Tennessee's ability to recruit out of the transfer portal, because you had quarterbacks who did not want to come here because they were afraid, I'm going to get there, and then the starter is going to get that year of eligibility.
Yep.
So I think that's what hurt Tennessee more than anything. I think there were some other quarterbacks who might have come here had Joey not filed that case.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I'm not going to argue that point.
Nope.
Hey, I want to talk about the Lady Vol softball team. Boy, some good news here. They were rated number 1 in the country last week, and they're off to an exceptional start. This past week they beat number 6 UCLA 11-0, and number 7 Florida State 9-1, and beat Missouri State yesterday 5-0. So they remain unbeaten.
And didn't even have to start Carlin Pickens for those 3 games.
They've already played 10 or 11 games right out of the gate. They're down at UAB playing in a tournament right now. I think UAB, Mercer, and Southern Illinois are coming up on their schedule, and they play today and tomorrow down there. And I'm I'm not seeing anything there that's going to keep them from coming out of there with a few more wins.
I don't think so either.
So they're off to a great start. Dan Mitchell, you had a couple of girls, right? Your family played softball.
Sure did.
This softball team at this softball program at UT through the years has been exceptionally strong.
Certainly has been. Donnie, you're familiar with both our daughters.
I sure am.
Play ball. Both of them played ball over at William Blount High School and went on to play in college. And Abby, actually, the oldest one, came back and she was softball coach over there.
She was one of my coaches.
Yeah. And you're still talking to me, huh?
I sure am.
That's okay, because I don't think that coach talks to me anymore.
Yeah. But anyway, Lady Vol softball team, they just keep playing. Of course, they've always started fast out of the gates in years past. So, we'll it's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. So we'll see as we get down into tournament time. This is an exceptionally strong SEC softball league that they're in, one of the best in the country. So,
and you know what I like about softball right now that just makes me feel good is they're doing what baseball never would. So, like last weekend, they were playing a tournament, and there were, I think, 9 top 25 teams in that tournament field. And they knew going in that they were all going to be there, and they were perfectly willing to go to Florida and do that and play each other and take an early loss or take an early win. And you just don't see that kind of thing with baseball. And I love the fact softball takes advantage and does that. And, yeah, you have another off weekend this weekend where they have a lower scale level of tournaments going on across the country. But it's a lot like basketball because it's a lot of cases where they've got a named team going to a smaller market and playing 3 or 4 of the mid-level teams because that helps those programs.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great strategy that's been implemented for college softball.
Yep. Ball baseball, they're out of the gate strong, 5-0, and they had a good week. They beat UNC Asheville 10-3 yesterday. Kent State came in here not so easy yesterday. They took a walk-off home run by Tyler Myatt in the bottom of the 9th. Pinch hitter came up as a pinch hitter.
Wow. Did his job, didn't he?
Did his job. Did exactly. He ended it right there. And I guess it was a blast to center field, and quite a blast. That's what I heard. But anyway, they're still unbeaten, and weather permitting, they've got Kent State today and Kent State tomorrow. Three-game set.
Right. Lady
Vol basketball, going into the week, they were number 21 in the country. They're 16-9 and 8-5, I believe, right now. But Dan Mitchell, they have lost 4 out of their last 5 games. They lost to an unranked Texas A&M team, 74-82 at home this past week. They've got number 11 Oklahoma away tomorrow. They've got number 7 LSU in Baton Rouge next week, and they've got number 5 Vanderbilt in Nashville next Sunday, I believe. They got their work cut out for them.
Pretty tough road trip.
Well, they sure do, and if they don't pick it up, they may be the first women's basketball team over there to not make the big dance on that.
I'd hate to see that happen.
I sure would too.
Well, there's been some firsts this year, as far as games that they've lost score-wise, and it's hard to figure out because they showed so much promise last year as a program when Coach came in, and then this year they had a good recruiting year, really good recruiting year, and there was really high hopes. But this has been a trying year, especially against Terry Mitchell, especially against ranked teams.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yep.
Getting beat by UConn so badly, that was horrible. And they've lost big games, big time.
Yeah,
and you can't do that and be competitive in the SEC.
That's true. Yeah. Well, it's the SEC in women's basketball is a strong setup too. They've got 10 teams ranked in the top 25.
Sure.
Just to show you how strong it is. You gotta come ready to play game in and game out. But they're turning the ball over too much. They turned it over the other night, I think 20 some times, and
and that hurts
they
big
go
time.
into these valleys where they don't shoot very well, and They look like they're and you all can comment if you want to, but it looks like they're lacking some leadership out there. Somebody, a take charge player to when things start to go down to get everybody in line and say, look, we got to turn it around right now. There just doesn't seem to be that going on right now, and hopefully they can turn it around. But boy, this is going to be a tough week, and it's not really the kind of week that you're looking at going into the SEC tournament.
No.
I mean, it's like that Dan said, if they drop these 3 games and go into the SEC tournament and drop the first game, hey, it could get a little sweaty.
Yes.
As far as getting in the tournament, with what they got and their resume, the fact that they haven't beaten, very many. I think they've beaten one Marcus ranked team. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there with them in the week coming up. Couple of other items on the national scene here. I want to talk about UCLA coach Mike Cronin. He's been in the news lately, and Dan, I want to talk to you about this one. He sent one of his players, Stephen Jamerson, the second, to the locker room after a hard foul last week in their game. I think they were playing Michigan State, and the guy went up for a lay-brown, and the guy just hammered him, and the game was pretty much over at that point. And I know there was a lot of frustration that had set in, but Cronin got a hold of the player and sent him to the locker room in front of everybody. My feelings on the deal, if he'd have done that 20 years ago, probably nobody would have said anything about it. But
absolutely,
in this day and age, there's been a lot of press about it. Your take on what happened there, that sending the player to the locker room there?
Well, like you said, times have changed.
Yeah.
Back in, as they would say, in the day, you had a lot more of that stuff going on, and just help the other player up, and but every now and then you would have some payback later in the game. But now it's just with the media, the way it is now, everything gets blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
So.
And they had a week or so ago, they had the altercation in the St. John's game, where they had the fight. I believe they were playing. I'm not going to mention that. I think it was Providence, but I'm not sure. But
sounds right.
There was a hard foul there in that game.
Yeah.
And then there was an altercation after the hard foul, and maybe that had something to do with Coach Cronin, who's a pretty animated coach to start with, saying, "Look, my program. This is not my program, and this is not who we are, and I'm going to show that it's not what we are by making this player an example." In front of everybody after what happened there in that St. John's game where everybody got into it. I don't know. But I do know this, 20, 25 years ago, it probably wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been a big deal. But we're all sitting here at the table, and our parents were my parents and Dan's and Terry's probably were in the military during World War II, and they came back and decided they'd have some kids, and we grew up in a military-type family where, hey, look, you're going to toe the line, and you're going to do what this person says or that person says, and if you don't, there's going to be some ramifications there and when you get back home. So, it's a whole different, people just looked at it, I think, differently back years ago than they do now. And, of course, you mentioned the media and they can get it out there. It's a whole different ball.
Think about it. It stands out because you just don't see that done anymore.
Not much.
Especially in the age of NIL, for a coach to be that kind of a disciplinarian stands out. And the other thing that happens is back in the day, he could send 4 people to the locker room and nobody know it except the people who were at the gym and were talking about it on Monday. Now it's up on ESPN 10 minutes after it happened, and the whole world knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah, he would have probably been better off just to have taken the player over, maybe said something to him, not belligerently, and then the game was pretty much over. There wasn't a whole lot left in it. They weren't going to win, and then just sitting him down on the bench and just letting it go. But anyway, wanted to get everybody's take on that.
Sure.
It's time for a break, and when we return, it's the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
For over 90 years, Anderson Lumber Company in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. Locally owned, so the money made here stays here. Whether you're renovating a kitchen, bath, new floors, doors, or windows, Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store and can take care of you from design to install. We welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa for all your home's needs, or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber since 1925. Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boyd's Sports Spotlight segment. Donnie Moore, I'm going to turn it back over to you for headlines and whatever you got going there.
Why, thank you, my friend. It is time for our sports headlines of the week, brought to you, as always, by the good folks at Fast Signs. Indiana University football coach Curt Cignetti is having a great year. After his team won the Natty last month, the market review clause in his contract was triggered, giving the school 120 days to give him a raise. And that would make Cignetti one of the 3 highest paid coaches in the sport. That's what the clause says. Indiana University stepped up to give Cignetti a $1.6 million increase on a contract that runs through 2033. The new raise to $13.2 million annually moves Cignetti from 4th in the country at $11.6 million to being tied with Georgia head coach Kirby Smart as the highest paid coach in college football. He deserves it. At this point, he did a fantastic job on.
You take over a program that hadn't won anything in about 100 years, and you have 2 outstanding years. That's all he's had there.
That's all he's had.
2 outstanding years. I'd say that's pretty remarkable, not only from what he's done on the field, but what he's done salary-wise.
Yeah, indeed.
And he's won a national championship.
He sure has.
Yeah, and you
know, Natty.
And listen, he's going to be loaded for bear again next year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to come, with a new quarterback, which is going to be a big deal up there. But he's got a lot of players coming back from last year. So, and they've upped his schedule.
Yes,
he's got Ohio State and Michigan on his schedule.
Yeah, he's going to have
and Penn State. So hey,
play some of the top teams now.
He's going to, he's going to have to really win it next year in the Big Ten. But
he is. You're right.
But that program's on a roll.
There's
no doubt about it.
Sure.
I can't say that for the basketball program right now, but the football program's on a roll.
It is. Well, with the Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games winding down after 2 weeks of competition, the games running from February 6th to tomorrow featured athletes from 92 countries, not including Russia and Belarus, of course. And they competed in 16 different sports. In the 2022 Beijing Games, the United States finished tied for 3rd in the gold medal count with 9 after Norway and Germany. And I think Norway's still ahead at this point. So good winter sports.
Well, that's not
that's
not a surprise. I mean, they have winter 9 months out of 12 up there. Them in Switzerland.
Yeah. Well, a little NBA news here. Commissioner Adam Silver has announced several tweaks to NBA rules beginning next season to cut down on the what's known as tanking. And that is intentionally tumbling down the standings in order to increase the odds of obtaining higher picks in the draft lottery. So he's going to kind of see if he can make a few tweaks to the rules to combat that. 6 former Pittsburgh women's basketball players are suing the school and coach Tori Verdi, alleging Title IX violations, mistreatment, and abuse. Yeah, In the suits, the former players, who are Favor Iodelli, Raven Boswell, Michaela Elmore, Brooklyn Miles, Isabella Perkins, and Jasmine Timerson. Those players allege the university committed Title IX violations and that Verdi inflicted, quote, emotional, psychological, and physical abuse, end of quote, against the players.
Lord, I need to get me a lawsuit going for my days over there with Stu Aberdeen.
All I could think about was, what if they played for Bobby Knight?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, or anybody back in that day, Woody Hayes, or
Yeah.
you Bo Schembechler, you name them. You know, there's a long list of coaches back in the day that.
The suit goes on to allege that Verdi engaged in actions that, quote, transcended poor coaching and entered into constitutional violations.
Yeah.
So they're serious about this, you know.
Yeah.
Well, the lawyers are serious.
They
about
are
it.
indeed, because they stand to make a killing, don't they?
Yeah, win or lose.
Apparently, they need to find out constitutional. First Amendment doesn't count with coaches. You know, shut up. It's my way or the highway.
That's true. Well, after 6 seasons with the Miami Dolphins, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa might be packing his bags for another locale. The only current question is whether Tua will be released or traded. Either would come with complications for the Finns, owing to the fact that Tua has $54 million in guaranteed money owed to him for the 2026 season.
Remember, they signed him when the fad was the guaranteed money clauses.
Uh-huh.
And even back then, we questioned it, and I don't know that the guaranteed money clauses worked out for one team that gave them.
No, I don't think that's the solution.
Every big-name quarterback that got the big guaranteed money clauses fizzled.
Mm-hmm.
Every
You're
single
right.
one of them.
Speaking of a quarterback, not necessarily one that fizzled, but Tennessee, we talked about this a little while ago, Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar's injunction seeking another year of eligibility has been denied by a local judge. Aguilar will turn pro at this point and attend the NFL Combine next week. So the Vols will have a new starting quarterback for the 5th straight year. Wow. That's hard to get consistency.
Well, when you go to the transfer portal every year, that's what you
Well,
get.
yeah, that's true.
If you don't want that, you know you're going to have to bring someone in here, and you're going to bring them along.
Coach them up.
Exactly.
The Daytona 500 Sunday, last Sunday, Tyler Reddick was the winner. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came in second, Joey Logano third, Chase Elliott fourth, and Brad Keselowski fifth. Now, here's the deal about Tyler Reddick. He was paid for winning that race somewhere from $1.6 million to $2 million. That's 5 to 8% of the total purse. The total purse this year was the largest in Daytona 500 history. The total purse was $31,045,575.
It's a lot of money.
Isn't it, though? It's more than some third world
There's
countries.
still a lot of complaining with drivers because of you can't go anywhere. You know, they get right down to, the ending laps and they're all bunched up and, they're all wanting to win, but there's no place to go. They're all hung up down there, and then, of course, you know what happens.
Yeah.
Somebody tries to make something happen. And it takes a lot of people out of the race. But there's a lot of concern on the driver's part that, hey, we want to compete and we want to try to win, but there's no opportunity,
Nope.
the way it's set up. So,
let's do a few on this day happenings in sports. All these items happened on these things happened on February 21st, which is today, of course. 1931, the Chicago White Sox and the New York Giants play the first exhibition night game. The very first one, 1931. 1948, NASCAR is incorporated. So they came into existence and got corporation status right there. 1953, the longest college basketball game in history. 6 overtimes, and it was Niagara 88, Siena 81. That's 1953. 1968, baseball announces the minimum annual salary of $10,000.
Wow.
Charlie says that's what he made, $10,000 minimum. 1969, Ted Williams signs a 5-year contract to manage the Washington Senators.
Went to sleep before one of his games and missed it.
Oh,
I don't think
goodness.
they were very good.
No. No, Senators never were too good. 1979, here is an interesting article. I teased to Mike a little while ago. 2 Iowa high school girls basketball teams played 4 scoreless quarters. At the end of regulation, it was 0-0. The game was won in the 4th overtime period. Final score, 4-2.
Was that back in the day where they had half courts, where they have the
79, yeah, I believe that was real close to the time where it changed.
It was like 3-on-3.
Yes.
Both
Yes. Yeah, Patty played with 3-on-3.
What was that rule you were talking about the NBA and tanking?
Yeah, tanking. That's all right.
Somebody
need to tweak that.
Somebody was going to get the 2 seed and have to play somebody they didn't want to.
I'd say you're right. 1980, Liechtenstein becomes the smallest country to produce an Olympic champion. Hani Wenzel. She won the women's giant slalom at Lake Placid in New York. Liechtenstein.
Tiny country, giant
hard to say.
slalom.
Yeah,
Is that like jumbo shrimp?
that is.
Okay.
It's an oxymoron. 1983, the San Diego Clippers begin a 29-game road losing streak on February the 21st. 1992, U.S. figure skater Christy Yamaguchi wins Olympic gold in of course, the overall, I think, is what it was. So she was a good one. A birthday of note right here, one anyway. 1958, born on February the 21st, Alan Trammell, Hall of Fame shortstop, 6-time All-Star, World Series MVP in 1984, played for the Tigers, and also managed the Tigers and the Diamondbacks, born in Garden Grove, California. Happy birthday, Alan. A couple of deaths to talk about on this day. 1974, you've heard this name before, Tim Horton.
Tim Horton.
Tim Horton,
He was
Canadian
a
hockey
hawker,
player,
Hockey player.
co-founder of Tim Horton's restaurant chain.
I've been up there. They're all over the place.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Go for the
everywhere.
donut, stay for the coffee.
That's it. He died in an auto crash at 44 years of age. Wow. Way early. And in 2021, died on this day, Doug Wilkerson, NFL guard. He was a Pro Bowler in 1980 through 82, All-Pro in 1982, played for the San Diego Chargers, died at the age of 73. Well, that's all for this week's sports headlines. Marcus, you got something
We
else?
left one out,
Okay.
and it's
What
a
you got?
sad one from earlier this week.
Yes.
But Wes Rucker,
Yeah,
sports journalist, covered
Yes.
UT 20 years.
I was
actually, he was
devastated to hear that.
He was a stringer here at the Daily Times when he was in college,
Right.
working at the Daily Beacon. He was a freelancer for John Bryce when he was in school, and he died in the wreck on Thursday night down there on Cedar Bluff Road that closed the interstate.
That's true.
So,
Yep.
wanted to put that out there for those who had not heard. I think most people know at this
I
point.
think you're
but
right, but
great career. I think he was with BIR as their
he was.
Saturday and Sunday sports show host.
Yep. Thank you, Marcus. And that's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by Fast Signs. I'm Donnie Moore. It's all yours, Gunner.
I am Mike Edwards, and I'm back here with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons and Dan and Terry Mitchell. And before I get to, some UT sports and a little bit more about Maryville College, I want to mention that Donnie, talked about the salary.
Minimum salary is
I looked that up.
$10,000.
It was kind of interesting. He went to $13.2 million.
Oh, wow.
which makes him the highest paid football coach in America. Kirby Smart going into next year is at $13 million. Lane Kiffin's at $13 million. Ryan Day, Ohio State's $12.5 million, and Dabo Swinney is $11.5 million. So they came up to 13.2 to make sure that he was going to be paid more than Kirby Smart, I'm sure.
Well, I think the marketing thing was they had to put him in the top 3 on that clause, and after Kiffin did it, they could have gone 12 or 12.5 if they'd wanted to, but because of Kiffin's contract at 13, it pushed the top 3 number.
Yeah. And for all of us old timers sitting around here, they're on kind of a sad note that I believe happened yesterday. Bill Mazeroski passed away.
Maz.
His Pittsburgh Pirates, and we all know that in 1960 he was the hero with they didn't call them walk-off home runs to win the game back then. It was just a game-winning home run.
Correct.
Really kind of the shot heard around the world, wasn't it, Dan Mitchell?
Oh, it
Dan
sure
Mitchell?
was. I actually won some money on that when I was back in high school.
That was an amazing World Series because if you go back and remember, the Pirates won it, on that home run, but 3 of the games the Yankees won, they were blowouts. I mean, they were just like, 14-1 or 15-3. I mean, they were just horrible.
And then
games.
the Pirates would win the close ones. And
yes.
Mazeroski was noted for his fielding, especially turning double plays.
Yes.
Yeah.
Had a unique way of catching the ball, but
he did, didn't he?
He would fold the glove up a little bit. He's not catch it in the pocket. He'd fold it up some and trap it on the outside of the glove, and it was with his bare hand, and he could turn it faster.
Yeah, no doubt.
He was slick.
And Terry Mitchell, when we talk about that home run and the Pirates winning that World Series, today we're watching TV, but back in those days there were a lot of transistor radios up to people's ears. Remember those days?
Yes, I sure
And maybe
did.
if you were lucky in school, there was a little portable TV if you had a sports-minded teacher where you could watch the World Series,
Yeah.
If you didn't have a sports-minded teacher, it was a bad news. You were going to be on academics, but in the fall in the World Series, you could watch the World Series if you had a.
I remember riding the bus home with people with their transistor radios tuning into the series.
Absolutely.
I seemed to get sick around those times and had to stay home.
Yeah. Exciting times, the series.
Well, the afternoon games.
Go back to that game.
Yeah, really.
Go back to that game. Best I remember to set all that up was the ground ball to Quebec. Remember that came up and hit him, in the throat. And kind of set all that drama up because it was a routine play.
Yeah,
throws the guy out. Would have been a different scenario maybe. But
he ended up being an announcer with Joe Garagiola, I believe.
Yes, he did.
He sure did.
Yes, he did. And one of the pictures that I remember of that home run, a lot of dramatic pictures of it. Him coming around third, and he's holding on to his hat, and then there's Yogi Berra running back to that wall in Forbes Field, looking up, seeing that ball go over the wall. Kind of a great picture. But anyway, sad deal. And Charlie Paleo, unfortunately, for another week in a row, moves up on the list.
He does, yeah.
Moves up on the baseball list.
He's still with us. So
yeah.
That's a good thing.
Tennessee basketball. Last Saturday, the Vols defeated LSU 73-63. Was not easy. It was one of those come from behind LSU deals. Made it real interesting toward the end, but Tennessee hung on. And then the past Wednesday, they handed Oklahoma, handled them convincingly, 89-66. Tennessee's at Vanderbilt today for a huge SEC encounter, 2 o'clock on ESPN at Memorial Coliseum. Always a hard place to play there in Memorial Coliseum, Donnie. I mean, from a fan standpoint.
Yeah, except for you.
Well, I like to play there. I love to play there.
Yeah.
I thought it reminded me of Hinkle Fieldhouse and absolutely great shooting court.
Sure.
Great. I always mention that. And so you can look for both teams to shoot real well today, despite Tennessee's defense. Last Saturday, we mentioned that Oklahoma upset Vanderbilt in Memorial Coliseum by 1. So both of these teams are looking. They're still in the hunt, for an SEC championship. A couple of games behind Florida. Time's running out, but Florida's got some tough games left. And, Tennessee's got some tough games left. So we'll see how it all plays out. Dan, what does Tennessee have to do to beat Vandy today?
I'm just going to. I can't remember the coach that you quoted earlier, but they score more points. They're going to have to take care of the ball.
Yeah, they're going to have to take care of it.
And they're going to have the big men are going to have to start to finish inside. They haven't done it all year, really.
Yeah, it's it's offensively, it's been pretty much Gillespie and Ament offensively. Every once in a while, Boswell, he can get you some scoring every once in a while, and maybe inside you might have a player step up, but it's really all about Gillespie and Ament, and if Vanderbilt's able to control them today, Tennessee will not come out of this game because offensively that's pretty much what they got. Tennessee does a good job on the boards. Terry, they've rebounded real well this year, especially on the offensive boards.
Part of their offensive rebounding prowess is because they're missing so many shots. They're getting a lot more rebounds.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
they're being able to do that. And I think another thing that they need to do, Marcus, get you in on this a little bit, is control the tempo down at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt likes to go up and down the court, put the ball up. They got they can shoot the three ball really well. So you need to control the tempo and kind of slow things down a little bit. I think that's important. What else, Marcus? What else does Tennessee need to do?
I think they need to do that for other reasons as well. But you're such a good offensive rebounding team. It's obviously a strength, but you're absolutely terrible about putting the ball back in the basket when you get that rebound. And putting it up quick is negating that rebound. Not only are you not scoring, but oftentimes the team's getting that next rebound. Mm-hmm. If you would just take the time, set your feet, there's a little square on that back of that glass for a reason, and quit trying to feather the ball in and actually just square up and put it up there. You're taking more time, and you're going to control that game with your strength, because right now your strength is you're not using it. It's like having the huge bicep on your right arm and then going out and arm wrestling left-handed. Why?
Tennessee also, they want to limit their turnovers. If it's around 10 to 12, they're going to be right in the game and usually come out of it.
Sure.
Foul shots, they got to hit their foul shots down the stretch because this game, I think Vanderbilt's a 4.5-point favorite last time I looked. So it's going to go right down to the wire if everything plays out. So they're going to have to hit the free throws. Vanderbilt. They want to get Tennessee into an up-tempo game. They want to get the crowd in the game. That won't be hard early. That crowd's going to be in the game as soon as Tennessee comes on the court. That crowd's going to be in the ball game, and then we need to keep the Vols off of the boards, especially the offensive boards, and they need to shoot the ball well, and they need to control the scoring of Ament and Gillespie. Vandy's coming off a good road win, by the way, this past week. A good win on the road. Importance of the game, SEC title and regular season still on the board.
That's right.
Loser of this game, you might as well look for a win in the last few games to try to get a good seed in the SEC tournament. Right. I think you're out, based on the way Florida's playing right now with just 2 losses. They're also playing for SEC seeding, and they're also playing for NCAA seeding.
Right.
This is a huge game. It's a huge
yes,
game.
it is. Yes, it is. You come down this stretch. I think that's a lot. You look at the seedings for the big tournament. They don't seem to look back at the beginning of the season when we beat Houston.
Right.
They're going to look at these games a little more importantly. You got upset by such
Syracuse.
And such. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
And the one that scares me, Mike, and you talked about it in the standings, is I can look at that schedule that's coming up, and if you lose this one, it's very possible Vanderbilt's the 4 and Tennessee's the 5, and you set yourself up for a rematch of this game in the SEC tournament.
Ooh, yeah.
That's a real possibility with these two.
Yeah. And listen, you've lost to Kentucky twice. Lord and behold, you don't want to lose to Vanderbilt twice. I mean, you don't want to go and have a really good year and maybe make a run in the NCAA tournament and have people – it's bad enough that they're going to say, well, you had a good run, but you lost to Kentucky twice. Can you imagine you had a really good run, but you lost to Vandy twice and you lost to Kentucky twice? You don't want that scenario. That's the worst-case scenario from a Tennessee player standpoint and a fan standpoint, to lose to Vanderbilt, be swept by Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Dan.
Oh, it's bad enough considering they beat us in football, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were trying to forget about that.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Speaking of seeds, Joe Lenardi's got his bracketology out this week. And Tennessee's been moved all over the place. They got them in the Midwest now, and that number 1 seed is Michigan. And, boy, are they playing some basketball. Michigan is playing some real basketball right now. First round, they got Tennessee playing a number 6 seed, playing out in Portland, a number 11 seed UCLA, and number 11 seed San Diego State. The winner of that game would play Tennessee. And then number 3 Gonzaga, and number 14, I guess it's California Baptist. They would play the winner of that game. So if you're out in Portland and you win and Gonzaga wins, you know they're going to have the closer crowd. So that's another reason Tennessee needs to finish strong to get out of that western look, get more to a eastern look, maybe a Charlotte or or somewhere in that category. But yeah, a lot riding on the last 2 weeks
definitely
of the season. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, we'll be back to talk some more college basketball. You're listening to the GoTeez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Welcome back to the Bluetick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and I'm here with Terry and Dan Mitchell. And Dan, former basketball and track runner at Maryville College, and
I've been wanting to ask
Marcus
him, Mike.
Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore, huh?
I've been wanting to ask him what he thinks about the track Maryville College has now.
Yeah, let's go.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Is it not fantastic?
It is. It is. It beats the heck out of that cinder track I had to run on.
Was that cinder track a quarter of a mile? A lot of those they made a fifth of a mile.
No, it was a quarter.
Quarter of a mile.
Quarter mile.
Yeah. And where did it sit?
It's around the football field.
It was around the football field.
Yeah.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up about the track. Maryville College has really upgraded their sports facilities over there over the years. Their baseball field, the football field, and soccer and the softball. I mean, they've done a tremendous job.
They've put a lot of improvement into that campus. Not trying to sound too old-fashioned here, or going back to the old times. I guess it was 1966. They were finishing up the construction on a lot of we called them the new dorms at the time, and shortly after that, they have the basketball facility up there, the gym that they have, and it's a lot better than what I had to play in, for sure. But they've spent a lot of money on their physical plant up there.
Did you play in the new facility, or did you play in the old facility up there that had the balcony that?
No. Even I didn't play in that one. That was in Bartlett Hall, and they used that. We would practice in there for one game when we go to play Mars Hill, and Mars Hill had a gym like that, and if you took a shot from the corner and you had enough arc on it, you jumped up with it, you could actually pin the ball on your shot to get blocked by the overhang in the corner.
Yeah, it came onto the court.
Yeah.
The overhang did.
And, I had that experience at Mars Hill. And but at any rate, we played in what's known as the Alumni Gym.
Alumni, yeah.
And it was interesting place to play. Good floor on it. But,
yeah, it was a good floor.
And when they put the new gym up there, they had a composite floor.
I remember that composite
on it, and it was about the time when UT was playing on tartan. Is what they call it.
That's correct. We played on a tartan floor
and stuff. And I learned. I'd go in there, and I was still active playing ball and get to play against some of the current players that were up there. If you have a habit of dragging your toe when you're going up for a shot or something like that, you can wear a hole in your basketball shoes pretty quickly.
Yeah, you would.
You didn't want to die for a ball, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No.
My first experience of the college was when I graduated. I was working it was Blunt National Bank, at the time, and I was working on my master's degree, and they wanted to know if I would run a free basketball camp for kids in the county. And I said, yeah. And the bank said, we'll sponsor it. We'll buy the T-shirts, and we'll get the college, to let you use their gym up there. And so we had the camp up there, and Jimmy Campbell, at Maryville, he helped me out, and some of the other coaches and players. Randy helped me out, Lambert. Yeah. And some of the players that were on the team when Boydson and I worked together up there. We had like 125 kids. We thought it was a good deal because it was free. And we had it 2 years, and we expanded and so forth. And I made the mistake of inviting Stu Aberdeen over there. they had been going all the way to Arden, North Carolina, but I thought, gosh, I'll have Coach Aberdeen come over and talk to the kids. It's a free camp. He come over here, and he liked it so well, he decided to move their camp over there. So we didn't get to have the free camp anymore because he moved the
you got preempted
camp of champions that UT has every year, and he had his camp over there.
He didn't bring his broom with him, did he?
Yeah, he brought his broom. He brought his broom that day, and it was a big deal. But
he used to wear Kosmowski out with that thing.
Every once in a while, I'll run into somebody that was 8 years old or 9 years old that was up there at that camp, that was free. We did it for 2 years. Had a big turnout for it. You got any stories about Boydson Bears? You got a good Boydson Bears story? Terry, you can get in on this too, huh?
There's lots of them.
Yeah.
There was one interesting story I can tell. I was not in the car. He was driving. We drove everywhere. But we're
and
playing.
You're talking about going to your games. You took cars.
Yes.
Well,
station
close game. We're playing up at LMU. And after the game's over, trying to leave the parking lot. Now, the parking lot, at the end of the parking lot, it goes down a hill, steep hill. Well, Coach has managed to go ahead and take his seatbelt and somehow managed to strap it through the steering wheel. Okay? It's a lap belt, and he can't make the turn, and we're getting closer and closer to the edge of the parking lot. Finally, somebody said, stop, But he was a treat. He really was. He had some habits. A pregame meal. Somehow he heard that Coach wouldn't like to have poached eggs and fruit cocktail. Well, I was one of the few people on the team that liked poached eggs, so I got to eat a lot of poached eggs.
Terry, that doesn't sound very good to me. That poached eggs.
Not me.
Yeah.
We're the steaks you hear about kids eating pre-game.
You got a story?
No, just that he was just such a good man. Just overall good man and truly interested in the kids and their backgrounds and where they were going and where they were heading, and what he could do personally to help out the students. He was just a person, perfect embassy of Maryville College.
Yeah.
He just was.
Well, he did, according to my notes here, in 2001, Maryville College presented him with the a medallion up there, which was the highest award they've ever given to anybody up there. But
And he was deserving, for sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, by all
Yeah.
means.
You know, a lot of schools are putting statues up. I mean, they're putting statues, around their arenas, around their football area. I thought if you ever build a statue, one of the people that you would look at would be Boyce and Baird, wouldn't you? I mean, he kind of got things started up there.
Well, the first game in the new basketball facility, Cooper, is what it's called up there, happened to be on his birthday in 1970. And he played everybody because he wanted everybody to have a chance to be in on the inaugural game up there, so they could say they did that. But he's, again, a super person.
Yeah. Optimistic. He was always optimistic, I thought. He's always, he's always thinking in the positive way, I'm coaching and I'm going, okay, Coach, we're going up to play Milligan. And Milligan gives scholarships, and they're an NAIA school, and they're in the league with Carson Newman. How are we going to? How are we going to? We'll be all right. We'll be all right. We'll go up there. We'll be all right. I said, well, what do you think about just holding the ball just as long as we hold it? What do you think about doing that?
I'm still trying to figure out how optimistic he must have been when he scheduled us to play University of Chattanooga.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
That was a pretty good. That's a pretty good basketball
I had
school
the
back
largest
in the day.
person in the world I ever saw at that time come out and block a ball back in my face. But yeah.
Did you get any money for playing them down there in the day, or?
No, I wasn't any NIL money at the time.
Yeah.
We did stop one time. I'll put something back on the turbulent 60s here. The college we played down at Tennessee Wesleyan in Athens. After the game's over, their shower stalls down there were a little on the rusty side, so we didn't take. We just kept our sweats on, and you come on back. Coach ordered ahead at a restaurant. I don't know. They've remained nameless. It's no longer in business. Everybody's got a couple cheeseburgers and some fries. Had one black player on our team, and walk in there. They saw the black player and said, "No, you can't. No, he can't eat here." Well, we told them what they could do with their burgers and stuff. And it was really a turbulent time back then.
It was.
And he handled it well. He just made everybody feel at home. You're your father away from home.
Yeah. I remember when we was coaching that one year, we needed to stay over Christmas. Had a tournament or something or a game after Christmas, so the college they wouldn't allow him to keep the kids on campus.
No.
So he had to find a place. So we stayed up in the Smokies up at, I want to say Tremont or
it could have been.
some
Yeah,
deal
there was
up
a lodge
there.
up at Tremont.
Yeah, there wasn't rooms. There was just bunk beds and a great big
That sounds like Tremont.
You've been there.
I have. Yeah.
So have I.
And I'm going, well, where are we going to practice? I mean, we're up here in the Smoky Mountains. I don't know if there's any gyms up here. He says, well, I just want to keep the team together. We want to be all together up here and keep them on the right path and keep them out of trouble and so forth and so on. But, yeah. Where are we at, Donnie?
We got about a minute and a half.
Okay, good. All right. Dan and Terry, it's been fun having you.
Oh, it's been
Thank you so
enjoyable.
much.
It's been enjoyable.
Yeah. Marcus, you got anything else you want to?
Well, I'll toss out there just because we're on the countdown is we are rapidly closing in for Bigfoot Festival and the Highland Games. I think we're at the 3 months out mark where they're going to be in May, and Jeep days are also coming. So Townsend's getting ready to get busy, and it starts today with Winter Heritage Festival and the Beer Fest in Townsend tonight.
Well, yeah, all
Sure
that's
does.
coming up. Spring gets busy.
Oh, definitely.
You know, you didn't listen to the GoTeez Sports Page get together, of honoring the athletes.
Yeah.
Well, that's coming up too.
That'll be coming up. You got Bigfoot ahead of that.
We got to finish Bigfoot before we can give out our awards.
Yeah. Donnie, ready?
It's about that time, brother. Here we go.
Blow the whistle. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the GoTeez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of Bluetick Tavern, and all our sponsors. Until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle.
Yeah, good
Join
to
us
see you
again
guys.
next Saturday for the GoTeez Sports Page. The best